Hi FlossTube Stitchers. It's Americana April, but I'm going to start with the April part of it tonight and show you the automatic color for this month from Atomic Ranch. And it's lavender. That is, I think it looks a little bluer on screen than it does in person, but it's a really beautiful color. This is Ada, this is Lugana, and this is linen, so you can see it's not just the glare. It does get a little bit darker across the different styles of fabric, the linen being the darkest. The linen also maybe tends to be a little more dramatic in the color changes, but all in all, pretty consistent color throughout. I still have a number of counts left because I get extra on my automatic. And there's also still openings in some of the counts if you wanted to join us for the Automatic Fabric of the Month Club. So, Stitcher Carol Leonard was in this week to pick up her 14 count lavender. And she mentioned that I had not shown her mug yet this month. And I thought, that's right, because I did a slideshow, so I haven't done an in-person video every single week. So she's right, I showed it on social media, but I didn't show it on camera yet. So this is the April mug of the month from Crossstitch Wonders. And if you remember from previous videos, she has a black frame and a brown frame and figured out that those were the two best colors to represent all or to house all 12 months of this series. And she can switch them back and forth. Some maybe look better in the black, some look better in the brown. And so this one's in the brown because actually her July is in the black one right now. And these are single charts. You can get just the month of your birthday or just the month of a holiday, or you can get the whole series. So far, people seem to be liking the whole series, but no pressure. This happens to be done on 11 count, so the other ones that she has stitched have a little bit more fabric showing, but as long as she doesn't go any different than this, they'll all still fit in this size frame. I think this is a 12-inch, but you can decide for yourself what stitch you would want to, or what count you would want to stitch on, and then pick the right frame accordingly. I think she was using stash fabric during the first few years of COVID when fabric was hard to get and we weren't going out as much. So she was even surprised when I mentioned that it was 11 instead of her usual 14. So that's April, mug of the month. All right. Now for the Americana part, my vintage is not a stitch, it's a weave, it's a craft. So I ran across this picture recently and I knew that I had to show this. This was 1 year at Liberty Gathering, which was in Liberty, Missouri. I've talked about this before. It was just a wonderful weekend, or maybe it was 4 or 5 days, I don't remember, of classes and shopping and laughing and talking, and we just took every class under the sun. They were all kind of prim and kind of Americana, patriotic. The whole town was actually, so it was really fun to walk through and eat at the little diner and go to all the little, the quilt shops and the yarn shops. And so we took basket weaving as one of our classes. This is my friend Carol, who now lives in California, and this was my friend Monica. We traveled to Liberty, maybe, I can't remember how many times, 3 or 4 times together. We went quite a few times. And I have the baskets, plural, to show you. The very first one I did was not that project. It was small enough that I felt I could handle it, not having any experience in basket weaving. And so this is a candle holder. It holds the glass candles from all the popular candle makers. And I think I did a really great job on it. You know how picky I am with my crafts and having not done it before, but the teacher was really good. Her name was Barb, And actually, Carol and Monica became really good friends with Barb, and they went to retreats together. They met up, like she was from a different state, so they met up at retreats, and they quilted together and stitched and scrapbooked and who knows what else they did together. They became really good friends. So Barb was the teacher, and she encouraged us to sign the bottom. So this first class I took was in 2001. There's her signature on the side. And I use this all the time. It's always out in my family room. I think the blue has faded just a little bit, but because it looks prim, you know, I think that's fine. I learned a number of years ago that like navy blue fades even faster than black when you're thinking about home decor. And I thought, rats, I'm on my 4th navy sofa and I'm not learning anything, am I? But I just love it. So that was in 2001. And then this is the project that we were working on in the picture. And it's, I think they called it a purse. So it's kind of like, well, there's no top on it. So I knew that I wasn't really going to use it as a purse. I was afraid, you know, it would tilt and things would fall out. I suppose I could make a purse, or you could make like a drawstring fabric liner and attach it to the bottom and then have that close. But I decided to use it next to my stitching chair. And I was putting like the current projects I was working on in it. And then, as things go in my household, and maybe yours too, I started putting everything in it. And it ended up having, you know, birthday cards that I would get, and the floss left over from this project got stuffed in there, and you know, just an invitation. I don't know. It was just crazy. So it got stuffed with things, and then I kind of put it aside, and so I figured I needed to clean it out. And I actually think this deserves to be like hanging on a door or hanging on a wall, and fill it with silk flowers or greenery or whatever else. If you can think of a good idea, let me know. But it does have a base to it, so it does stand up. But if you put things in it, then it has a tendency to fall over. So that's why I think it would be a better maybe door hanger than it would be another form of decor. And, you know, I never got around to making a fabric liner for it. So it has stayed pristine in my family room. And if I had been using it as a purse, it probably would be really beat up by now. This hasn't faded quite as much as the other. It could be the reed or the color, you know, could be different. Neither one of them were ever in direct sunlight, so I kept them safe that way. But I wanted to show you the bottom of this one. So this was 2003. And there's Barb's signature again. And this is her mother, Nancy, who was also a stitcher. So we met Nancy as well. So anyway, those were 2 really fun projects. I don't have any contact with Barb anymore, but I would love for her to know that I'm still using these. And the class was so great. You know, I probably didn't expect my project to come out as good as other people's that maybe were, you know, more crafty and not just a needle person. But for her to know that I'm still using them, I think she'd be tickled by that. So those were my vintage, 2001, 2003. That's, you know, vintage in my world. So I'll put those back where they belong in my house. Okay, and then, let's see, I'll put that picture there so I don't lose it. So now we'll go on to my stitching for Americana April. And I got Forever in Peace back out from Sweet Wings Studio. And I don't know why I put it aside, because it was really fun and I loved the colors. But I did, and it was time to get it back out again. So this is kind of how I had it folded to photograph for Facebook and Instagram the other day. So I just kind of left it that way. So I'm filling in the dark color here, and the lighter pink here. And then I also did some more of the beigey brown. So I really like how it's coming together. I believe this is flax, 36 count Edinburgh, and I'm using the suggested colors, 1 strand of floss. And, you know, it's covering as well as I expected it to cover on 36, and they're kind of prim patriotic colors. So I think I'm gonna, you know, love it when it's done. Oh, that's my niece. So that was Forever in Peace. And then I actually didn't work anymore on American Welcome, but I did get a second order of Color and Cotton floss. And so I'm going to tell you about my predicament, or maybe my plan. Plan sounds more positive, right? So when I was first starting the project, this is Hunter. I don't really know why it's called Hunter. Does anyone know why it's called Hunter? I don't know what it pertains to, if Hunter is someone's name or if Hunter, I don't know. But I was surprised that it was light, because in the picture it looks darker. But you know how that goes. The pictures are never quite accurate because of the flash photography and the shininess of the paper, and then it goes in a plastic bag and whatever. You know what a camera does when it goes you know, straight over the picture, it immediately washes it out. So I wasn't too worried about it, but I was a little disappointed because I liked the darker color better. And then I thought, okay, Shelly, don't be stupid. Just keep on stitching. It's going to be fine. Well, then I got another batch of the color in, and you can see that it has much more dark in it. And I really do like this one better. But am I going to take that out? I don't want to take that out. I mean, it was maybe the blue. I think I did the blue and the sails on the same. So maybe it was just one night of stitching, but still, am I going to be that fussy and take that out? Or am I going to, hello, am I going to start incorporating the new color? So, you know, I already started this, so of course I can't, you know, sell it. I have to keep it in my stash. So I thought maybe I would start incorporating the darker color, but also keep using this in various places. And it was suggested to me the other day that it might look, you know, more like waves, and it might look really natural to have it change color like that. So it was a predicament, and now it's a plan. So I didn't do any more stitching on that because I started something new. Oh my goodness. So I had been really excited about Patriotic Quaker, but I sold all of mine and I wasn't ready to start stitching it in March, and that was fine with me. Then when I went to reorder it, nobody had it in stock. I probably should have just ordered it directly from them, but I thought, oh, I'll just throw, you know, 6 copies on a distributor list and a distributor shopping cart. And so the thread came, but then the chart was on back order. And my friend Bonnie M heard my whining. Well, I texted her whining, and she said, you can borrow mine. I'm not going to start it yet. So she loaned me her copy, and it calls for 32 count light taupe. And when Primrose Cottage started using light taupe, the only color that I could find on any of the distributors who carries Weigart fabric, on any of their websites, the only light taupe I could find was 27 Linda. So I got that, and I would have been willing to maybe do it on 27 because I did the autumn one on 25, but I didn't have a big enough piece of it anyway. So I thought, well, I'll look ahead and I'll order the 32 light taupe ahead of time, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I reached out to my shop owners Facebook group, and I got a response right away that such and such a distributor carries it. And I thought, oh, they're not the ones I go to first for Zweigart because they carry their own line of fabric. You people in the know probably know who I'm talking about. But I wasn't ready to place a large order with them quite yet, so I thought I'd wait it out. Then when I was ready to order, it looked like they didn't carry it anymore. When you search the fabric section by color, it does not show up. They only show 3 other counts. So I thought maybe they had discontinued it. Oh my goodness, the craziest thing. They have the 32 Lugana, which is also called Murano, which I knew, but I was looking for it by color name. They have it as light LT period taupe, not LIGHT taupe, like the rest of the counts. And that's why I couldn't find it. Is that not ridiculous? Their search is ridiculous for shop owners or for customers. So anyway, they do have it, but then in the meantime, another shop owner had reached out and said, mine has been on back order for months, so don't expect it anytime soon. So I thought, what the heck? I'm not going to wait that long for it, because if it's not going to come by July, I really want to stitch this. And so I decided, that was a really long story. I didn't plan on telling you all that, but I'm showing you like the shop owner's frustration in trying to get what customers are looking for. So I had just gotten in mushroom 28 count. So that's what I did so far. This was like an evening and a half or something like that. And I like the color well enough. It's a little bit lighter than light taupe, and light taupe has, well, the Linda at least has kind of like a rosy beige tone to it, but everything you see done on it looks great in the pictures and looks great on camera when the designer or other floss tubers are showing it. So I know it's going to be nice when it comes in. But the only thing I was concerned about was the white, because I knew this was lighter. So the original chart looks great, and they used old lace, and I was afraid that old lace might not show up. I am using 2 strands, but I was just worried about it. And so that I didn't have to fuss and take anything out, I just went with pearl white, also a color in cotton, because I wanted to stay true to the thread company that was used, and it's going to be fine. So I'm using pearl white because I already had it for American Welcome. So that's that. And then I'm going out of order here because I think I actually finished this first, but this became a finish, not a fully finished, but a finish just recently. I don't need to show you the chart because the whole thing is done. So my needle's still in the fabric, but it is finished. This is Freedom from Barbara Anna Designs. It's in the files of the Facebook group Star Spangled Stitchers, and there's also a bigger version that's slightly different. And I only made just a few minor changes. I changed the white from 3033 to 3866 because I wanted it to be a little bit brighter. I never saw this stitched. It's just a computer generated chart. So sometimes you have to wonder what it's going to look like in real life, and I was worried about it. So again, I changed the color before I even started stitching it because I wanted it to show up. And as soon as I did the white in the flag, I'm like, oh yes, this is just the color I needed. It's not too bright, but it does show up. Then the other thing I changed was the lighter color in the, they're not strawberries. They're flowers, I guess. What kind of flower do you think that is? Anyway, the lighter color in the flower was supposed to be 356. The darker color is 355. And when I laid the 2 floss colors together, they didn't look like they had much contrast like it did in the picture, the computer generated picture, because the company just chose a color to represent the floss, not the designer. I mean the design, the program that she used. So I thought, okay, I don't want to do a lot of stitching and then decide I don't like it. Well, guess what? I couldn't find my 356 anywhere. It wasn't in with my DMC floss. It wasn't in any kit that I've been working on in the past year, and I didn't feel like looking any farther. So I found 3778, which is one shade lighter. And that was already cut in 18-inch lengths, I think, because we had kitted it for something. So I found that, and I thought, well, that's good because it's in the same family as the original colors, but it is one shade lighter. And so I was happy with that. It looks a lot brighter than it did when I first started because I did the crow, and then I did the basket, and then I did that funky greenery. And as soon as I added the blue, it brightened up. Not that I don't mind prim. It just was, it was a little drab, but now I really, really like it. I think once I added the blue and the yellow, I started to, to really get into it. And then when I added the white, I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be great when it's done. And then the other thing I did, you're not going to be able to tell on this, screen, but I did the crow's eyes in just a Smyrna cross, just so it popped out a little bit more. And that's it. So I think it would be really great as a little pillow, but right now I don't really know anybody that finishes pillows. So, my framer can always come up with something really easily. So maybe it'll be framed, or maybe I'll put it in a pile. And if anybody has a good recommendation for a pillow finisher, maybe I would send a number of things at the same time so that I would only pay shipping once to get a big box back with the finished items, because I have some bigger things I want in pillows too. Okay, so that was that. That is my stitching. Oh, you know what? Let me show you one other thing. I forgot about this because I don't have it on my note, but my other dilemma, my other predicament is that, let's see, let me put it in the right order here. On the chart, the roof and other parts of the design are done in black oak. Now, it looks really good on screen here, but in person, it's very brown. And so I thought I might change it to rustic black. So we'll see. I don't mean to question, the designer's choices, because I love Plum Street, and I think she's done so many great patriotic things that I would stitch any of them. What I'm questioning is, maybe a dye lot difference, because hers was done for a retreat over a year ago, or by the time it was stitched and framed and whatever, and then the retreat came, it had been stitched before that. So it could have been a different dye lot, and maybe her black oak was more black. I don't know. On the picture, it looks more black. So we'll see. I might do a small area before I do a whole roof. I might do a small area and just see what it looks like, combined with the rest of the colors before I actually, make the whole change. I don't think I would go wrong by changing it to rustic black, but we'll see. Okay, so that's that for my stitching. Then I have another new shop model, and this is from my framer, Bonnie Saffron from Valley Framing, and this is E Pluribus Unum by Jan Hicks Creates. You can't see the light color that well on camera, but it is very close to the original color, I think, that the designer recommended. It's actually looking really green on camera. It could be Legacy or Heritage or something like that from Picture This Plus. I'm not sure. Bonnie did it from Stash, and she had belonged to a couple Fabric of the Month clubs, so I'm not sure what it is. I think she did use the called for colors for the flag part, but then she added petite beads in a creamy color in the flag. She loves adding beads to things. So I thought that came back perfect timing for Americana April, which she knew nothing about, of course, because she's not on social media, but it was perfect for me. And then, you know how it is when you advertise something and then all of a sudden everybody wants it and then it's unavailable? So I have one copy of the chart, and I've just shown it on social media, and now I've shown it on camera. And I don't want to give that away. And I'm afraid that if I order more copies this week, it too will be on back order. So I'm not going to give that chart away, even though it seems like that would be the perfect thing to do. I'm going to give another Jan Hicks away. This is Samplings of Lace Spring. She's done all 4 seasons. You can do it in whatever color you like. It's probably, let's see, it doesn't say on the back what colors, but it looks like maybe, you know, three shades in the same family, in the same color family. So anyway, if you would tell me what you like best about spring, I think we might have done this, you know, in a previous year, but I always like to hear the answers. So what you like best about spring, just spring has to be in your comment, and we'll put you in the drawing with the random number generator for next week. Then last week's giveaway was Brave One, and I asked you to say something about people in the military or somebody that was brave. And the winner was Yarns and Threads. I think her name is Melanie. And she said, my dad was in the Navy and my husband is a Navy brat. So both sides have Navy running through their blood. So I've reached out to her and asked her to give me her mailing address. And then I wanted to read one of the comments. I think her name is Agnes because the YouTube handle is David Agnes 99. So I think it's probably Agnes, but anyway, it says, I'm sure I'm too late to comment. No, you were in the drawing. I'm sorry, you didn't win this time, but you did make it into the drawing because I don't do the drawing until the afternoon of the day that I'm doing the video. Okay, but the bravest person I know was my dad. In World War II, he served in a secret army group called the Ghost Army. These brave many created life-size decoys with their artistic talents to fool the Germans. My dad did not live long enough to tell what it was like because they were sworn to secrecy for 50 years. But there are many books and documentaries about this whole operation. Well, I love to read, and so does my dad, and I'm going to ask him if he knows about that because he has bookshelves full of books about the wars and military and presidents and all that. So I'm going to have a conversation with him next time I see him and ask if he knows about that. But I thought that was really interesting about the Ghost Army. So Agnes, thanks for sharing that. Okay, I've run through my list. I think I covered everything. So we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.